Hey guys, I don't know if you can actually hear me. So if you can you just let me know in the chat? Oh, cool. That's great. If it's too echoey, I can just like turn the music off. So let me know. Cool. So as you can see here, I've got my sketch that I have taken a picture of, and oh great, that's awesome. So yeah, so I've got my sketch here. I have taken a picture of it because it was done on my sketchbook. Sorry, I'm just checking that my camera like is properly like set. So yeah, okay. Now I'm really gonna start. I'm sorry. Here I've got my sketch that I did on my sketchbook, and I have taken this sketch and I have already prepped it so that I am all ready to start. This is gonna be the background, which, as I was saying in my previous video about MerMay, it's a background inspired by the idea of like the moving windows from like Harry Potter's like mermaids. And specifically today I am working on the river mermaid, which is this one. As you can see, this mermaid is sort of flowing down because she's supposed to be like a river, so it makes sense that she's you know, just kind of like this kind of flowy gesture like this, you know. And I have like a really weird brush on. Let's go to my normal brush, which is dry ink in the settings, and I am using Procreate on my iPad. I hope that it's visible enough for you guys. So as you can see here, I have already done my sketch, but I kind of like overlaid this pink outline for the hair because I didn't really like the way that they came out the first time that I did this sketch. So I'm just gonna quickly like clean up the sketch here. Thank you, Sarah. Hi. So I wasn't sure how to do this because this is supposed to be my monthly sort of like draw along for my patrons, which Sarah in chat here, she's one of my patrons as well. She's lovely, and she has a very nice, very cute MerMay sort of hashtag going on that is called MerMay Fan 2021, and I think it's a great hashtag to be promoting. So I hope that if you guys end up posting any mermaids, that you also use this hashtag, because it's just an hashtag to help sort of like artists supporting artists and remembering that MerMay is supposed to be fun. So I hope that you use it if you do end up posting any mermaids. And so what I'm doing here is basically that I'm just like cleaning up the hair, and like as you can see here, I ended up making all these like pink don't worry Sarah. So as you can see here, I have these like pink outlines, which are the actual outlines of the hair, where the hair is going to be so like where there's not going to be hair, basically. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just that I find that hair for me is very much like a shape, like any other. So I don't like to make hair too realistic. I prefer it when it's got like a very definite sort of shape like this, so that it's more manageable. And so here I made a lot of like outlines already, and that's because, you know, her hair is supposed to be flowy and basically wavy. So I just made all these outlines and lines in general so that it would come across as very wavy. And, you know, that's great. I like that. Like, I don't want to change that. I just want to make sure that when I color it, I remember which are the parts that like don't need to have any hair showing. So I'm just quickly you know, making sure that I remember which parts need to be without hair and which parts instead need to show it. So like here, for example, this strand of hair is going to be departing. Right. So I think this shape is actually much more readable in terms of the hair, so I'm happy with it. And also in general for the coloring style of these pieces, because they're supposed to be a definite reference to Art Nouveau, because I love Art Nouveau, and if I could I would just draw stuff in Art Nouveau style all day. So because I wanted to have this reminder of Art Nouveau, I'd like to keep the line art quite visible in these pieces. Therefore, I am going to keep kind of like the line art visible and have this, like, so as you can see here, I made already a few sort of like tries of how I wanted the tail to be colored. So, you know, like here's a bit that I tried out, here's another bit, here's another bit. So like all of these areas are different brushes that I started to try out and see if they worked, if I, you know, if I liked the style that I was gonna employ. And of course this needs to actually go like underneath the line art, because the line art is gonna be kinda visible, kinda. But I think that in the end, the type of line art that the type of style of coloring that I preferred was this one. So I'm gonna have like a base color, and then on top I'm just gonna use dry ink and with like a lower opacity, and just sort of like do some little painty signs on top of the borders of the areas of the tail where I want some of the like texture sort of showing. Hey, hi Femcadebra. I'm good. How are you? I hope all you guys are good, by the way. I'm sorry, like I haven't even introduced myself or asked you guys how you are. I guess I'm a little bit nervous. It's my first like live on YouTube, so I am just a little weirded out by the whole thing. I used to do like a few lives on Instagram last year. In December I did a few, but then I stopped. So it's been, you know, a few months that I have been doing you know, lives. Oh, I'm sorry about your cold. So yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't know, I'm a little bit nervous, I guess. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so right, I'm going to basically start coloring. I'm just gonna paste in my mood board prompt for today, which is river, and I'm gonna share it from my computer to my iPad so that no. Okay. So yeah. So I'm gonna just import my right. So I'm gonna put my mood board just around here. Thank you. I appreciate. Yeah, I mean, the transition between the tail and the body is actually one of those things that I am always kind of like worried about, like, because you can go two ways about it, isn't it? Like, you can either go really like really cartoony, and you know, that's totally valid, you know, if you want to do that, and just sort of you know, make a very nice divide between the tail and the body, or you can you know, or you can just make like a gradual kind of like transition between the two. So yeah, so I'm gonna just quickly delete the parts of the hairs like here underneath. So as I was saying, I think I am going to be keeping some of these outline, and that's why I need to have like quite a clean line art for this piece, which is not something that I do usually. Like, I'm usually more like a no outline kind of artist, but in this particular case I want to kind of keep the vibe, like the Art Nouveau vibe, and Art Nouveau is quite famous for having quite evident like outlines, so I'm gonna keep it that way. So I'm just quickly gonna finish up the outline here. Also, I'm trying to like play some music that isn't like completely generic, but it's kind of hard because I'm using Epidemic Sound for the music, so that I don't have to so that basically YouTube doesn't just like delete my streams, because if you use music that has if you use music that has copyright, obviously your live stream is gonna get deleted at the end of the live stream. So instead I'm trying to use these musics that are royalty free, but of course they are also like super generic and kind of boring, so I apologize about that. Making live streams is really hard, actually. I don't recommend you to do live streams in general. It's very stressful. And oh shit, I'm going in front of the camera, sorry. So I wanted her to have this sort of little like fish, like carp, koi kind of motif. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of afraid of that too. And it happens more often than you think. Like right now, I'm like, not terrified, but you know, kind of worried that you guys are gonna realize that I am really bad at drawing. But I guess that's just, you know, normal kind of artist fears. Like one thing that I find really hard when drawing wavy hair is to draw inner hairlines that make sense and that can convey sort of like how wavy the hair actually is. I don't know if you guys have these issues too. And it's like there's always like a middle ground where you can do that and it makes sense, or where it just becomes like too much. Like here, for example. Well, I feel like replying to Vic Illustrations here, saying that drawing in front of an audience is totally fine, talking is the biggest fear. And I feel like, yeah, definitely, like, I think it's like the both things, like, at the same time that is the problem. Because if it's just like drawing, then yeah, I guess I'm fine with that too. But it's like, it's the pressure that you have to be drawing and talking and be saying stuff that is like moderately intelligent and well, not even interesting, but just like that makes sense, and not be just going and it's like recently I've been I ended up with too much forehead when I draw hair. Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm just gonna stick with this like hair as it is at the moment, and let's see how it goes. But yeah, like, so recently I have been trying to master my fears of talking and drawing at the same time, because I've been doing this series here on YouTube where I draw chibis in like characters from The Wheel of Time, which is a fantasy book in chibi form, and I also talk about the books. Like, I am re-listening all the books because a TV series is going to come out soon that talks about Wheel of Time, and so I have been like re-listening to the audiobooks of the series, and right, yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out like where's like hair and where is skin, and I think, yeah. Okay. So yeah, so usually I can kind of do it. Like I can now, I am like reasonably, I wouldn't say skilled, but I am reasonably confident with my, actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna, sorry, I'm just like jumping from one subject to the next, but I think that since I can keep the line art for these pieces, for these characters, I'm just gonna like keep the line art here and do like a big mask. In general, I'm afraid of talking in English, that I will mess up the words, my accent will be funny or stupid or things like that. Ha! Yeah, I mean, I can totally relate to that because I also have an accent. Since I am not, you know, mother tongue English. And yeah, I mean, I think you should just try, you know, and in the end, it's like drawing, right? Like, unless you do it for a while, you're not gonna be good enough, because at the start, you know, at the start of anything, we are not very good at, you know, that thing because we haven't tried it. But if you know, do it for a while, then you'll see that you'll become better and better, and you will eventually, you know. And I mean, I guess it's true, like, having like a language barrier is hard, and I can, again, very much sympathize, since this is not my first language, and I also fear that people are gonna be like, but like your like accent is stupid or whatever. But then I'm literally thinking, you know, well, if someone like complains about the way that you speak because of your accent, then they're just being rude. And so just, you know, don't give them the time of day, really. So yeah, that's my take on it when I feel like when I feel scared about my accent. To practice, started calling women Instagram from America to practice. That's actually a really good idea. Oops, that was the wrong color. Right, I think I'm gonna be faster if I do this, actually. So I'm basically just creating like a big mask underneath the whole figure, so that then I can just color on top of the mask, and that will be easier and faster, I think, for this style at least. Since usually I color everything going element by element, but in this particular case I am just gonna be probably keeping most of the line art, so it makes sense to just do the big sort of mask underneath. And yeah, so I have this huge problem with saying sort of like a million times. It's literally the thing that I say the most in English for some reason when I am feeling like I don't know what to say instead. So like color wise, this kind of artwork is gonna be quite simple, and that's because I want the complexity of this artwork to come from the amount of mermaids and shapes that are going to be present in the full artwork at the end of it. So I don't want to overcomplicate it in terms of lighting, in like for each individual piece, so for each individual character basically. Here I can actually probably just use the mask and the lasso thingy. This is the kind of style that I tested out and used when I was drawing the tarot deck that I put out like a couple of years ago. I don't know if you guys know about that. It was a sort of princess tarot deck that I created, where each Disney princess was sort of associated with a major arcana, and her story was sort of like in some way echoed the meaning of the specific major arcana that she was paired with. And you can find it easily on my website, I'd say. Probably not. Maybe you can find it on my Instagram if you scroll down enough. And I've been reposting them on Bubble House app. I don't know if you guys know that app. It's a new-ish art app that you can get instead of Instagram, since everybody hates Instagram now. And actually it's quite nice because you can post all these different type of features and post sizes, where you have like a before and after, or a sort of like process. Yeah, it's a nice app. Like you can you can post these kind of like process pictures that create the like a little animation GIF sort of thing that blurs all the passages of the process that you use to create an artwork. So basically you go from the very sketch to, you know, to the finished artwork basically. And also they have like a before, after, or like just two states, two versions of the same artwork or whatever. It's I just think that the features that they have are really nice. One of my patrons suggested it to me. She's called Mira, and yeah, so I checked it out last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember, maybe 2 Sundays ago, and that was quite nice. This was a nice find. But yeah, so I've been posting the tarots like over there, just like as a revival kind of thing. And I don't know, I just thought, oh, those are nice. I still like them, even though I made them like over 2 years ago now. So I was like, I'm gonna try and make the mermaids in the same style this year. I just like to change my style, or you know, just kind of switch up all the different styles that I use quite often, because I get bored really easily. Which I realize that it's probably not like the best idea, because you end up having not that much consistency between, you know, the pieces that you put out. But you know, that's just how I am. I feel like for some people it's not so much like a choice to change style often. Like for me, it's not like I try to do that, it's just that I literally can't, you know, sit still with the same style for, you know, any amount of time. I just always feel like changing it up and trying out new things, or just revisiting old things that you know, can be modified and made new. Yeah, I mean, I'm just replying to I think you don't need to focus on keeping consistent all the time. Just draw what you like at the moment. Yeah, I agree. I also think that. And also, Vic Illustration said, I just restarted my sketch for the 4th time. I guess it's time to put it aside and try Mermaid. Well, I mean, that would be very topical, so I am not gonna stop you, you know, if you want to do that. What were you drawing before the Mermaid? Okay, so I now have my full mermaid all with the same color. So it's time to create a new layer on top of this mask. And I'm just gonna quickly, I noticed something that I found annoying here. There you go. Okay. So I've created a mask on top of my basic silhouette for the mermaid. I need to work on my for mermaid, but instead I am playing Genshin Impact. Tomorrow it's another day to draw. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you don't need to be drawing all the times, to be honest. So, this is my basic color for the tail, which I have taken from this picture here. Because I really like this kind of image down here, and also in general the blue and red contrast of these two pieces. So I am a horse character reference. So is the horse the main character? And if it is it like a real sort of horse, or is it like a human with a horse personality kind of thing? Or like what I mean is, like, is the horse like anthropomorphic, or is it like an actual horse? A horse character reference, which is kind of... Oh no, okay, yeah. No, that's the same that I was reading before. So here I'm just very quickly leaving more space so that I can end up completely in the tail. And the great thing about using masks is that you can just be quite rough with the way that you draw and you color in, because you can just fix it up straight from the basic silhouette mask. Right here as well. Okay, so that's the tail mostly, and instead for the basic color of the hair I'm using this reference, but a little bit more red maybe. Do you play game? Oh, I can't make poses that dynamic. You mean because this one is dynamic? If you meant it because this specific mermaid pose is dynamic, I would recommend that you try and exaggerate the poses that you make, and that you try and do a lot of character and gesture drawing. So basically just go on Google and type, reference pose, like action poses or something like that, and you'll find a ton of action poses. And even better, you can just watch model videos where they stop the camera, or like just take a picture of a model as she's moving. And if you do that every day, just try and do like half an hour sessions of of gesture drawing. I guarantee you'll see some improvement and results, and you'll definitely be able to improve the way that you draw poses and make them a lot more dynamic. especially if you get so comfortable drawing from reference that at some point you can start actually really exaggerating the poses a lot more, and that's where you'll see the biggest change, basically. And also, if I play games, yes I do, I have actually been playing a game that I used to play in 2014, I think. So it's a game that I used to play in 2014. It's called Valkyria Chronicles. I don't know if you guys know it. It's basically like a tactical game mixed with an RPG game and like third-person shooter. It's kind of weird, because you can like choose your own strategies, and it's a turn-based strategy game. There's nothing particularly weird about it. But then you can also go in the scene and actually use the character each turn and sort of like move him around or move her around and shoot or duck or whatever. So yeah, it's basically the best of both worlds for me, because I really like strategy games, but also I like RPGs. So like that's basically a mix of the two. And also heard a lot about Genshin Impact, but I haven't played it, and I was wondering if I should. But I also think that I would probably just do that like all day, and I wouldn't get any work done. So I am kind of on the fence about it. Also, actual horse from a horse art RPG. You're supposed to be a problem horse, biting, kicking, but actually soft and kind inside. Oh, that's nice. And I finally find something that works. Yay! Ah, good. Yeah, I'm worried about the fact that like Genshin Impact is amazing, because again, I have very poor impulse control when it comes to spending my time playing games, and so I just basically need to be away from games that are too good, because otherwise I tend to do just that with my life and not get any work done. So it's like I need to save myself from being lazy by depriving myself of good games. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have this issue as well with, I don't know, self-control. But I don't know, I guess I have just like a very addictive personality when it comes to most things. I also have that thing with movies where if I like something, I will watch it like a million times. I'm not even joking. Even at the cinema. I mean, not that now we can go to the cinema, because obviously we can't, like, because of COVID. Actually, cinemas have just reopened in Italy, but still, I haven't been in the cinema for like a year or so. But yeah, if I find something that I like, I have a tendency to just overindulge with it. So I try just not to like anything. That's not true. But yeah. Okay, so here's the basic colors for the mermaid. So it's just, it's really super simple at the moment. I'm just gonna quickly change the ending of her tail, and I want to use again some colors from here, maybe like a lighter blue, or maybe also an like and a red. It could be also nice. I don't know. Let's see. Hey guys, Cosplay BG and Gabrielle Naila. I hope you're having a good time wherever you are and whatever time of the day it is. It's about almost 11 p.m. my end of the world, so I've had the whole Sunday to enjoy. Which, to be honest, I should have been working because I need to finish up some work for my patrons. Basically, for my patrons, every month I do a tutorial and a step-by-step, and I still need to finish the tutorial for April, so I am feeling really guilty. But I don't know, it was just like a lazy day, and I ended up spending most of it on the sofa watching Peaky Blinders, because unfortunately I discovered Peaky Blinders with about, 8 years delay. So yeah, that was fun. I don't know if you guys know this series, or I mean, it's pretty famous, obviously, so I'm pretty sure you do know it. So here I'm just using the hue and saturation kind of thing to see which color I prefer for the actual tail. I think this might be it. Yeah. A little bit more green, like this. And I'm gonna use the same color to put here. Yeah, I mean, it's a really good show. I'm still talking about Peaky Blinders. I'm probably not going to be talking about anything else for like a while. I don't know, I get very monothematic when I like something, as you may have noticed with the based on the amount of Shadow and Bone fan art that I have made in the past month or whatever, like since I've discovered the show. Well, not just the show, but like the books. Yeah, I get monothematic about things. It's just the way I am. Right. And yeah, I just love how Peaky Blinders is like, it just feels very like it's obviously very violent in parts, but also I don't know, it's just got like such great cinematography, and the actors are all like amazing. So I haven't read the books. Did you watch all the seasons of Peaky Blinders? No, I haven't. I am on season 2 because my partner and I discovered it just last night. So we watched basically all of season 1 last night, and then we just watched a few episodes of season 2 today in the afternoon. So yeah, no, I haven't watched all of the seasons, just the first like 1.5. And in terms of Shadow and Bone, well, guys, I mean, for the amount of fan art that I have drawn, you know that I am completely obsessed. So, we finally finished Shadow and Bone. Going to try the Nevers and the Luminaries next. I don't know either of those, the Nevers and the Luminaries, so I don't know about those. But I seriously recommend reading the books for those of you who have watched the series but haven't read the books yet, because they are very good. I read Shadow and Bone after I watched the trailer of the show. Yeah. Basically, yeah, that's what happened to me as well. I mean, I read Shadow and Bone because, again, one of my patrons recommended it, and I was like, okay then. Because I had heard, like, from so many people that it was good, but I just didn't want to read it. I don't know if you get that sometimes, that, like, people tell you, you know, this book is really good, but you just don't want to read it. It happens to me quite a lot sometimes, that I just don't really want to read it, even though I know that it's probably going to be really good, because the person who's told me that it's going to be good is someone that I, you know, respect the opinion of. Actually, that part was the best, at least for me. Which part? I am getting lost in the conversation. So, because, as I was saying, I'm trying to keep in the show. Oh, the trailer was the best part. That's probably not very flattering for the rest of the show. Oh, the crows. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that the crows themselves were like a really, really good part of the show, even though I don't know how effective they were outside of Ketterdam, honestly. They just felt a little bit out of context, I think. But that's just my opinion, obviously. And actually, I just like put out a video where I talk in depth about what I thought of the show. So if you guys want to go and watch that after this, you may. I had this feeling I'm watching two separate shows. Yeah, that's what I felt too. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't know how effective it was when they were out of Ketterdam, because I feel like Ketterdam was such an amazing part of the show, and I know that we're gonna get more Ketterdam in the next season, obviously, because, you know, the crows are going back there. Still, I don't know. I felt like I don't know, maybe they should have stayed in Ketterdam and just have like two separate storylines, and then you know, making them come together later on. It would have been like even more disjointed, but I feel like they would have it would have made more sense. I don't know. I still really enjoyed it. And also I just really enjoy the cast itself. Like, I don't know if you guys have watched any of the specials that Netflix has been putting out, or the just the scene, the way they acted, the way they shot them, it was another level. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw any of the like interviews or like specials that Netflix has been putting out. They're quite funny. I feel like I just really like them in general, like all of the cast together. It's very rare for me to get these attached to like actors. Like I get really attached to characters, but not necessarily to the actors that played the characters. But in this case, I feel like the actors themselves are really are a really good fit for their characters, and they seem like they're actually enjoying, you know, each other's companies, and you know, they've actually become like real mates, not just doing you know, a TV series together. So that's really nice to see. And yeah, I mean, Sarah like saying that they did that with the two storylines with The Witcher. And that's true. Like, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't watched The Witcher and may still want to watch it. But I think that was very successful in The Witcher, definitely. So yeah, I feel like they could have done that with this as well. Just keep the storylines separate for, you know, the whole show, and then give us a hint that in next season they were gonna converge a bit more. And the actor who did Jesper was my fave. Oh my god, I agree. I think he's called Kit Young, the actor. And honestly, and as I was saying in the video that I put out about this, I am usually like, it's very hard for me to have like a crush on a male actor, because I usually get crushes on actresses quite a lot, but actors not so much. And instead, like, he was just perfect as Jesper. Like, I really enjoyed his performance. Also because Jesper is like my favorite character in general, I think. Probably because of like a representation kind of thing. Like, you don't really see that many bi characters in shows. Like, you know, you see a lot more gay characters in shows nowadays, but not so much many bi characters. So I am really appreciating the representation in this case. And yeah. No, they didn't have a CGI for his gun tricks. He actually does all of his gun tricks. And I mean, I don't know if I should feel ashamed for this, because I feel like I'm basically behaving like a 13-year-old girl, but I actually watched some of the, like, if you go on his Instagram, you will see, because he has posted some of the tricks that he's been like studying, and also in some of the interviews that I saw, they basically, like, he shows how, you know, he shows the tricks like there and there, just like, you know, remaking them. And yeah, that's all him. And also Amita, I can't remember the surname, the actress who plays Inej, she also did the bits, like the acrobatic bits, and like she didn't even know how to do any of that stuff, you know, before actually starting the show. But yeah, if you look up all their Instagram profiles, you'll find they have posted a lot of like backstage materials. There's like one specific backstage video that I really appreciated, where there's Jesper and Inej dancing to that song, Bad Guy. I can't remember you know that song, what's the name of the artist for Bad Guy? I can't remember. Billie Eilish. And so they're dancing to Bad Guy from Billie Eilish, and they're really cute. And then all of a sudden they show in the darkness, there's like the actor who plays Kaz, because he's the bad guy. And I just thought that was really nice, because it's very spontaneous. And again, you can see that they really enjoyed each other's company. And yeah, I mean, I'm just reading here your your whole thread about Ben Barnes, and yeah, I mean, he's undeniably very attractive. I mean, he's an attractive man. I can agree with that. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Good night. Ben Barnes forever. Also Narnia too. This time I saw him in Narnia, he was so young and had long hair. Yeah. Good night. Yeah. I'm sorry also if I'm playing always the same like 4 tunes. It's just that they're the ones that I have here like easy, and they are not tunes that will get me banned from YouTube because they are royalty free. So I don't really know what I'm doing with this tail. I'm just like winging it. Because the idea here was to have some sort of river tail going on thing. So I'm trying to just make it look as though this is actual like water like running. I don't know if that makes sense. So I'm doing this by adding some sort of like water splashes. I don't know if that's been successful. We shall see. But yeah, so basically I have been watching Peaky Blinders, as I was saying. And that's my latest obsession, apparently. And, you know, the first season was really good. So I hope that it's going to be good as well later on. So I'm just adding these kind of scaly texture, which I hope will be a successful idea. I'm not sure yet. I'm not really very used to adding this sort of texture to things. Like I'm much more of a sort of flat color kind of person. So I'm really unsure as to how this is gonna look. So because I just wanted to have it like in certain areas of the tail, otherwise it gets a little bit too much, I think. So I kind of like it here, but not so much here. So I'm just gonna delete it from here. Talking about foreheads, I'm also moving this part of her forehead because it didn't make sense. Right, so yeah, I think I'm kind of getting there. I'm gonna quickly change the color of her outline. so that I still have an outline, but it's not so evident. I'm just gonna change it to a similar color to the base color that is underneath. So as you can see here, because I am... Thank you, Sarah. That's nice of you to say. Yeah, I never know about like mixing textures and just normal like block colors. But yeah, so here basically I have just color picked the color of the skin and then changed it a little bit darker so that I can just overlay this color to the color of the outline, and magically it's gonna make the outline look a lot less prominent but still kind of visible, which was the aim. Same thing here. And for the inside part of the tail, I might actually use a lighter blue to make even more contrast. So for example, like here, much lighter blue for the inner line art. And to be fair, this mermaid will probably be the most difficult one that I do, because I have to figure out exactly what's the workflow for this kind of style. But the great thing about styles and workflows is that once you've figured out the first elements, then the rest comes much easier, because you can just repeat exactly what you've done for the first in a series, and then all of the others are basically just coming, you know, by themselves, almost. Of course, I mean, you just still have to work on them, but it's just a lot easier to kind of finish them in a way that makes sense. So like here, for example, as well, the hair, I'm using a much, just like a slightly darker tone of red for the outline. And I think this mermaid in particular, is it actually coloring? Yes, I think it is. Okay, so I think this mermaid in particular would look quite good just by doing like a crop that is a little closer. So that's just like a thing about Instagram and social media in general, that it's kind of baffling, but at the same time just the reality of things, which is that you can, you know, you can have a really good piece of art, but if you don't package it in a way that it makes sense and that it's well, not even interesting, just in a way that isn't eye-catchy for, for the platform that you're working on, it's basically probably gonna have like a much smaller impact that it could have if you just packaged it right. Could have just done this, couldn't I? So yeah, I don't know if you guys, struggle with this, trying to figure out the right crops for Instagram or other, other platforms. Basically, what way is the best way to show something on social media so that it sort of generates some interest. It's just the sort of thing that I think about a lot, because that's a big part of my job, basically. So yeah, so here also I'm thinking of redoing the line art for some of the inside hairlines in like a much lighter orangey color. Which is something I like to do, to sort of alternate, especially for the hair. Much darker outline for the outside line art, and then a lighter one for the inside. Like this. Right. So I guess I am almost done. And I think basically when I was talking about cats, I think something like this as a crop might be nice to have, just like part of the mermaid and part of the tail. Here I'm just playing around with the blending settings. Oh, I'm sorry, I was going in front of the camera again. What's my handle in Bubble House? It's by Memo. I don't know which one is the blending setting that I prefer. Maybe a bit light. I need to use cropping more, I like that. Yeah, I feel like cropping is like, it's one of those things where it can really bring an artwork to life if you just use like a nicer crop for a certain social media. And unfortunately, that's just the reality, basically, of living in a social media environment where the size of the image that you're gonna see on a phone is like, this big, like basically like a fingernail. So it needs to be like, the crops need to be very obvious, like very eye-catchy, and then people can, just go and check your art out more in detail when they actually click, on your profile. But if you don't interest them like at that very small stage, then there's very little chance that they will go and look at it more, unfortunately. It's just the reality of social media, basically. I don't know if I like more these kind of blending settings for like vivid light for the tail, or just the normal one. It's like, this is just me being undecisive, and I just usually do this so much because I am just very undecisive when it comes to my artworks. I'm like just always trying different things. Maybe vivid light. I think I prefer vivid light. There's so many options, it's hard. I agree. It is too hard. So I'm just gonna finish up here by adding some splatter, maybe? Yeah. Oh yeah, I like that. Maybe overlay for this one. Right. So I feel like I'm quite happy with this. I mean, I could be going on and on and on with this for like forever. That's the issue with like digital art. I think at some point you just sort of have to make a decision, you know, that's it. That's all you're gonna do with the piece that you're working on. Because otherwise you could literally just be going on forever. I'm trying to just sort of use a little bit of the same kind of style of texturing the tail somewhere like in other bits of the tail, just to see how it looks. Like, I never know whether I should just leave it like around here, around the body, like where the tail mixes up with the body, or try and add it on several different areas. Actually, maybe the several different areas idea is better. It does seem to be working better, to be honest. I'm also getting a little tired now because it's 11:30. So my concentration is starting to wane. But yeah, I think I like this. This is going to be very time consuming to add all these little brush strokes to all of the mermaids. Luckily there's only going to be 4 or 5 this year. Otherwise I don't know if I could be asked to do this for all of them. Oops, that's definitely too dark. Okay, that's the right color. I don't know why sometimes my iPad stylus just doesn't, like the Apple Pencil just doesn't seem to recognize. Right, I think I am done with the basic color for this mermaid, and so I'm just quickly gonna add a new layer for a little bit of lighting and shading, but a tiny bit of lighting and shading, not too much. Just forgot to put back the music there. Thank you, Sarah. I am, yeah, I mean, again, I'm just always really unsure about adding textures like this, so I hope that it looks okay. I think I will probably just take this recording, this live recording of, yeah, I find my pencil comes slightly unscrewed and I don't know why. Yeah, I feel like that's the same. Like if I, sometimes after like an hour or so that I've been drawing, if I do this, I find that like the pencil is like that, and so I just have to like give it a tight screw in. That's definitely true. That's just not very good design, I guess, from Apple. And I don't know if that's just, you know, because of the screw, also because like the paper like kind of screen protector that I have has a tendency to just make the pencil rub against the screen protector a little bit. I don't know how much that is the problem and how much it's just the Apple Pencil coming like undone a little bit. But But yeah, as you can see, I'm just adding like a tiny bit of lighting and shading. Tiny bit. It's not too much. I'm basically just adding the shading part for the cast shadows, which are the shadows that are created on the character's body by something like an object or another part of the body of the character actually projecting like underneath and therefore projecting their shadow on top of the character. So no soft shading. And here on the tail, I'm just adding a little bit of shading where the tail is sort of like doubling up. And if you can just sort of like pixel lock the shading layer, you can then change the shading color in certain parts. Like for example here, I'm just going to change the shading color on the tail to like light blue so that it doesn't make that much of a contrast. Like this. And just turn the opacity down a little, like 50%. Right. And finally, a layer with lighting on overlay. Lighting on the hair is probably my favorite type of lighting. First I'm gonna do like a layer of lighting for the skin, which is definitely gonna be more subtle than the hair one. And to delete some of this, I can just use a like noise brush, for example, but like on a lower opacity, so that it's got this sort of texture to the lighting layers as well. It's kind of like disappearing texture in certain areas at least. So that more than lighting, it looks almost just like another texture, like another color texture. Like 75% probably, something like that. And then I'm gonna make a new one for the hair. And yeah, making lighting for the hair is probably my favorite thing. Because you can just do it like by following the shape of the hair. Like this. And then just deleting. Some of these areas to give it a more broken up sort of aspect. Overlay. I think that's it. I think I'm done with this particular lady, and I am going to say goodnight and post it tomorrow. This is gonna be the first mermaid for this year's mermaid. Yep, that's it. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. It was lovely to have you here. I hope this wasn't too boring or just like difficult to follow. And I shall see you next week, where I'm gonna play and I'm gonna draw a new mermaid. Next week's is gonna be lake prompt, I think. So it's gonna be Lake Mermaid for next week. And yeah, so this is it for tonight. Thanks again, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day or night. If it's night over there, I'm gonna go to sleep. Right, bye guys, and thanks again. Thank you, Sarah. Right, bye for real this time.